At Kane Center for the Arts, we believe art is for everyone. From our exciting performing arts series and gallery exhibits to robust education programs and impactful community initiatives, there's something for everyone. Visit kanearts.org.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Good morning, Lake Norman. Cornelius, Mayor Woody Washam, right here with you today in beautiful, sunny Lake Norman. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and we've got a great show for you. We have a lot of great shows here in this hour on Thursdays, but this is a special great one because we're going to feature one of our newer employees with the town of Cornelius. He's not new at this type of position he's in, but he's new with the town of Cornelius, and we are so grateful to have our assistant planning director here today, David Cole. Welcome, David.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Great to be here.
Great to have you here today. And this guy has a wealth of background and good information and training and experience in the planning business. I asked him a little bit earlier, why would anybody want to be in the planning business? But this is a special guy that I think has the knack to make this work for our citizens and development opportunities that may present themselves here in our town. So, David, just tell me a little bit about yourself, where you came from, how you got in this business, where you went to school, a little bit about your family and so forth.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, thank you for having me here this morning. Great to be on the show. So my name's David Cole. So I am here in Cornelius, been working for the town for about 4 months now. So I'm still kind of getting into. However, I've been in the planning world for a lot longer. Town planner in some capacity for about 6 years, Lake Norman area.
Wow.
So,
Six years is a long time here in Lake Norman for sure.
It is. A lot can happen in 6 years.
It absolutely is. So now, how did you get in that business? Did you major in something in college, and where did you go to school?
So I've always been what you would consider an architecture nerd or a planning nerd.
Oh,
right?
gotcha.
So I've always been kind of fascinated in that sort of an area. So I grew up in the Northeast. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and we moved down to the Charlotte area when I was about 11. So I'm, somewhat more of a Charlotte native than many
That's
could say
awesome.
probably,
That's
though I am a
awesome.
transplant. And when I got married, we moved to Mooresville. So that was kind of our introduction
Okay.
to the Lake Norman area.
So where'd you go to school?
I went to Gardner-Webb University,
great
which is a small
place.
school out towards Shelby.
Yeah.
So I was a political science major. So I actually
Okay.
came into the field kind of from the government side.
Right.
So political science is a very kind of broad major, and it you learn a lot about different areas. And I was kind of gravitated towards the state and local side. Everybody else
Gotcha.
wanted to be a lawyer
Ah,
in my
okay.
program, like I'm sure you'd expect. But political science was neat because I got to learn, a lot of change and a lot of the groundwork happens at the local level, and that always fascinated me. So after I graduated from Gardner-Webb, where I also met my wife,
That's where my wife went also.
Oh, really?
But I didn't go there. So.
Small world.
Small world.
That's
yeah.
a small world.
Exactly.
You don't meet that many Gardner-Webb alumni, so that's
Exactly.
fantastic. We after I graduated from there, I entered University of North Carolina, Charlotte, so
Mhm.
UNCC, with an urban policy, public administration master's degree. So, and that that program's fantastic because you learn from practitioners from local government, right?
Yeah.
So the MPA, and that major again is a very wide range, teaches you about all different sides of government, all sides of local and state government, and kind of, and again, it helped me kind of figure out my track. And ultimately, urban policy planning is kind of where I went after that. I was always fascinated with that. Seeing all the developments popping out of the ground, right?
Sure.
Seeing how the public can get involved, how local leaders make decisions, and how communities change and grow. I mean, it's a very fascinating topic for me. And then also just looking at the built environment, right? I like to travel to different places. My family was just in Atlanta last weekend, for example. love to see how different places do things, right? So walking along a sidewalk, where are the trees at, where are the bike racks at, what do the buildings look like, all those different aspects that make up your urban environment. It's very fascinating to me.
Sure.
So my first job out of grad school was actually with the town of Davidson.
That's interesting. Awesome. Well,
Yep.
they're a little different up there, aren't they? I mean, not in a bad way, of course. I would never say that, but you know, a lot of people perceive Davidson as pretty anti-development or whatever, but I don't
Right.
know that that's the case. The way they have expanded. So, tell me what that experience was like.
So yeah, that the town of Davidson, it was a great entry point for me in the field. Very kind of an academic vibe to it.
It is a college town,
It is
right?
a college town, right? So, and that kind of makes its way into some of the decision making as well. And you know, it's a great team up there. A lot of them are still up there that I worked with. I was doing a lot of day-to-day permitting and plat reviews, but also really got involved in some of the public engagement efforts. And I have to say, one of the things that Davidson does well is good public engagement.
That's awesome.
So they really, you know, they shape their processes around ensuring that people have a say in what's going on. So I got to plug into a comprehensive plan effort going on up there, and that was eye-opening for me, fresh out of school, to see how that all works.
Sure. And I've learned too that people have good ideas. I mean, they just don't come at you. Sometimes they'll come at you, you know, not in my backyard mentality, but many times they have good ideas, which makes a difference in some of these projects to get them as good as we can possibly get them. And that's what's important, I think.
Absolutely.
So that's a good role for our planning department. And I know things bounce back from elected officials to planning and back to the elected officials. It bounces around between our planning board. It's a complicated process. And
Absolutely.
but as far as hearing out citizens, I don't think there's anything more important than that. So
Absolutely.
anyway, you move from the Davidson setting to, I think, an opportunity in Mooresville. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So I, you know, I've kind of, one of the things about the planning profession is your pool of knowledge is broad but shallow. Right? You need to know a little about each topic area in order to be an effective planner. So I had the opportunity to actually work for then the city of Statesville for a few years.
Oh, okay.
More on the transportation side.
Sure.
And again, that kind of exposed me to how that process works.
Right.
But then shortly after, yes, my most recent position before this one was with the town of Mooresville.
Okay.
And that I really saw a lot of career growth and, of course, witnessed a lot of community growth in the time that I was there.
Sure. You really witnessed a lot of growth, that's for sure. I bet you were busy. I bet your schedule was pretty booked up there with the growth in that community. So we tell folks quite a bit about our growth when we're talking about the town of Cornelius growth, in that we've only grown like 0.6% in the last 4 years. And people said, well, what about the traffic? Well, you got Denver growing, you got Huntersville growing leaps and bounds, and you got Mooresville growing leaps and bounds, and Davidson a little bit. And we're at 0.4%. That's pretty incredible stagnant growth, if you will. So our policies and procedures have certainly worked well to get our growth under control. And I'm glad about that, but we can concentrate on quality now. So,
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about that and the downtown master plan quite a bit coming up. This is Mayor Woody Washam, and we'll be right back.
We'll be back with more of About Town, hosted by Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam. Straight ahead on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, plenty of sunshine hanging around as we go throughout the rest of the week and into the upcoming weekend. Going to start that warming trend again, too. Temperatures this afternoon easily climb up into the low to mid 70s. Wind takes a back seat for today and the next couple of days, thank goodness, too. Overnight low temperatures will fall back down to around 50. We're back up to around 80 for our Friday, easily into the mid 80s for Saturday and Easter Sunday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Greystone Lodge in Boone.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. 3 days of live music kick off on Thursday at Bin 110 in Cornelius. Ryan Winters opens up the performances on Thursday. Simple Soul takes the stage on Friday, while Hey Ladies will get you moving on Saturday. Bin 110 welcomes great local musicians Thursday through Saturday. The 500 Club in Statesville is having Easter brunch this Sunday afternoon. Come celebrate the holiday with your friends and family and enjoy the club's delicious food with first-class service. Call 704-872-9990 or visit the 500 Club online for more details on Easter brunch. The Spring Gospel Music Fest will be at Alexander Central High School Auditorium in Taylorsville on April 24th. Gold City and Sabbath Quartet are the featured performers with showtime scheduled for 6:30 p.m. For more information, call 828-383-5176. Enjoy the Spring Gospel Music Fest in Taylorsville on Thursday, April 24th. The NHRA returns to ZMAX Dragway on April 25th through the 27th with the annual 4-Wide Nationals. See 40,000 horsepower at one time when drag racing's finest stars line up to compete 4-wide. Every ticket is a pit pass, so come early to see your favorite drivers and cars up close before they race at over 300 miles per hour. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for tickets and more information about the NHRA 4-Wide Nationals on April 25th through the 27th. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
MuralFest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The War and Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit MuralFest.org.
It's About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
And we're back. Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam right here, along with David Cole, the Assistant Planning Director for the town of Cornelius. And we're so happy to have David with us today and also with the town of Cornelius. We were just talking about some of his background and experience, and I guess the last topic that we were kind of in the middle of was speaking about the growth in one of his job opportunities over the past recent time in the town of Mooresville and what growth that they have had up there. So, David, you're pretty busy, weren't you, up there?
Oh, yes, that was an understatement.
That was an understatement, and things were happening up there. So, we were also talking about that being a source of a lot of our traffic coming through Cornelius, since we're not growing very much in Cornelius. You folks out in Radio Land, don't throw a rock at me, because that's a true statement, and we can back it up with some good statistics there. So anyway, Mooresville is growing, and how big is that planning department up there? It's pretty large, isn't it?
It's changed a lot over the past few years. I think at its peak we had maybe 14 or 15 employees.
Wow,
which was pretty significant.
It is. It absolutely is, and there's been some good changes up there. One of the great changes that they have made has been lots of work on their downtown.
Absolutely.
And I look very favorably on that, and would love to emulate that here in the town of Cornelius. And, we're making some significant plans, which you're right in the middle of, and we're going to get into the middle of that here shortly. But it's an exciting opportunity with your background, I think, to, learn from where you've been and your experience and plug into where we want to go with this town and finally get it right at the end of the day. So that's our attempt. And I know that you've got some great experience and some great ideas, which is good to have new blood here on our staff to take us to that level. So I am more than excited about that. But before we get to that downtown plan, I want to hear a little bit about some of our special projects that are going on in the town of Cornelius right now. There are projects, we have projects that are underway and being considered, and we have projects that are already approved and moving forward now.
That's
Your colleague Wayne Heron told me one time not too long ago that projects come before our town board all the time, but probably only 20-25% of them ever happen. That was a pretty astounding statistic to me that, him and his experience would know that answer, I'm sure. But, but the ones that are moving forward, those are the ones I certainly want to focus on. The interesting part of that is projects, once they get approved, they sit there, I guess, for infinity. Because they just don't go away, that approved project, unless the developer needs a change and has to come back and get a change. They continue to be approved and they continue to sit there. So it's a little bit frustrating when you go through all the process and work of approving a project and then it sits there.
Right.
So there's a lot of reasons for that. But let's start out with the projects that, just give us a quick scope on the projects that have actually been approved and that are underway.
Right.
The ones you can remember, and I can add a few if you don't remember a couple of them.
Absolutely. Well, to kick off a few of them, so we have some pretty big projects coming up out of the ground that were probably approved maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I'd say that's a pretty typical timeline for a project between approval. So when it comes to the board, then they have to go back and fully engineer the plans and then contract out for construction. So that can take quite some time. So Mays Meadow is one that you'll see popping out of the ground. They've started construction. That's about 160 single-family homes, pretty large-scale luxury development going on the north side of Mays Road. So they're under construction, and they're actually going to the board for annexation consideration as well, coming up this Monday.
Yeah, that's always part of the plan. It's been in our ETJ, but now we'll move over as part of the town of Cornelius.
Absolutely.
Assuming that vote happens in that direction.
That's right.
So that's one of them. Any more?
And another one I'd like to highlight, and this is an interesting one, is Magnolia
Yes.
Cove. Kind of what you stated earlier was sometimes projects never happen. Sometimes they take quite some time.
Right.
Well, this one was approved in 2005 and just started construction this year. That's a smaller scale townhouse project down there by Nance Road and on West Catawba.
Sure.
So that project, again, looked like it popped right out of the ground, but it was approved by the board just like everything else. It just took 15
that was
20 years
prior. That was actually approved prior to my elected experience, which is, I'm right on top of 12 years now. So that was a long time ago, and it's just amazing. But this board and many boards past had nothing to do with that.
Right.
So anyway, to me, one of the exciting parts of that is that we can extend Nance Road across Catawba.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm not sure that it's part of that project or another project that's going on in Catawba where dirt's moving.
It's part of it. So
Gotcha.
there's also a retail development between there and West Catawba.
So is that moving forward now?
So my understanding is yes. I think they're very much still interested in moving forward, and I think that's one of the projects that maybe they're taking a step back to reevaluate how exactly they want to move forward. Maybe look at the mix of uses in there. But my understanding is yes, that I would still consider that an active project. And when that comes online along with Magnolia Cove, yes, you'll get that seamless connection across Catawba with Nance Road.
Yeah, those Nance Road folks are going to love that.
Absolutely.
I think they absolutely will. So before we leave that Nance Road area, there's another project that's being proposed out there right now that's going through the process.
Yes, sir.
And tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's a pretty attractive project.
So the event venue,
that's the one I'm
yes,
talking
sir.
about.
So that one's earlier in the process.
Right.
And it is an exciting proposal. You've got some pretty large scale lakefront homes out there. And the owners of that property, they would like to actually change those homes over to kind of suites for a wedding or similar type of event venue.
Right.
Add in some parking, some screening, and also maybe a new kind of event structure to do lakefront events.
Right.
And so it's pretty unique. In my experience, I've not seen something of that nature before, but again, I think these event spaces are a great opportunity to activate an area.
It's a beautiful setting. It really is.
Absolutely.
It's a gorgeous view.
Gorgeous.
View of the toward the west for sunsets and things like that.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely a beautiful setting for some great, beautiful weddings and other types of events. So
Absolutely.
I think that will be a good amenity for our town. So
Yes.
we'll see how that moves forward and how the board feels about that. But
That's
it's,
right.
It's coming up in the next little while. So not to get you too far away from Nance Road, let's talk about the project at Junker. I can't remember the name of that particular project. They maybe have arrived at a new name where we've got a lot of apartments going in approved by, again, previous elected officials.
Yes, sir.
Let me make that clear.
That's right.
Absolutely. So tell us about that one, how that's moving along.
Well, that one, all that I can say about that one is that they're moving. So that one is firmly under construction. They've gone vertical a while ago, and I would expect some, the site work to continue and the construction to continue through this year. Probably completion at some point next year would be my estimate.
Right.
And again, yeah, they've gotten the sidewalk open along Catawba, which was
was controversial.
That was
for sure.
So we're happy to see that come back online.
Right.
And again, that is one of the larger scale projects that, you're correct, was approved by a previous board. And that's it's important to get the word out that hey, the decisions of previous elected officials on development, it takes a long time for development to then move through the process and break out of the ground. So that's one of the larger ones, and that will really change that corridor.
Yeah, it absolutely will. So that it's going to be a different world as it relates to West Catawba.
Absolutely.
Some, probably rightly so, concerned about the impact of that many more residents living on West Catawba. But thankfully, that widening is underway, and right-of-way is in its very, very final stages, from what I understand, of being purchased for the West Catawba widening. And in addition to that, right behind it will come the utility movement.
That's right.
Which will start and jump into place. So the project is started officially. When you
Yes.
start buying real estate and you start moving utilities, the project is underway. The next thing will happen would be the actual contract.
That's right.
So I know the board and I are pushing every chance we get to get that moved up. But it's going to be a function of how fast we can get that right-of-way dealt with and completed, and also those utilities moved, because you got to get the utilities out of the way before you can start the paving.
That's right.
So lots of movement coming for West Catawba, not a day too soon, I would add.
Absolutely.
So another project coming out of the ground in some aspects, but a lot of questions related, is the Alexander Farms. And that may take a little discussion after our next break, but, there's a lot of raw dirt out there and not much happening in part of the property, but the housing portion of the property is moving very fast.
Indeed.
So did I assess that in the proper way?
That's completely correct.
Yeah.
So that's a larger scale development, a lot of mixed use going on out there, and there's still interest in completing it. It's just kind of taking a different pace.
Yeah, it is, and everything I hear is that it will happen. It's on the road to happening, but it's just stretched out a little bit longer because of some difficulty with the developer. But
Correct.
Here we go.
That's right.
This is Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam, and we're going to take a short break and be right back. Thanks for listening.
More About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam. Coming up on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, plenty of sunshine hanging around as we go throughout the rest of the week and into the upcoming weekend. Going to start that warming trend again, too. Temperatures this afternoon easily climb up into the low to mid 70s. Wind takes a back seat for today and the next couple of days, thank goodness, too. Overnight low temperatures will fall back down to around 50. We're back up to around 80 for our Friday, easily into the mid 80s for Saturday and Easter Sunday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Caregiving can be overwhelming, but fear not. Equity Health Primary Care is here to help. They specialize in personalized care for your loved ones. In clinic, at home, or virtually, they provide support, understanding, and resources to make the journey a little easier. Visit EquityHealthCares.com.
Sweetheart, would you turn it down? The neighbors can hear us. Sweetheart, the neighbors can hear this.
Ladies, if your husband's favorite TV setting is way too loud, it might be time for a hearing test. If this sounds familiar, it's time to call Beltone in Mooresville and Cornelius. Call 877-HEAR-123 today. That's 877-HEAR-123. Turn down the TV and turn up the conversation. Call 877-HEAR-123 now.
Closets by Design has transformed homes for over 20 years. Enjoy a 40% off plus an additional 15% off for our Easter special. Call 704-588-7272 to schedule your free in-home consultation and visit closetsbydesign.com today.
The NASCAR Cup Series will try to team the Lady in Black as they head to Darlington Raceway this Sunday. Catch all the action right here on WSIC, coverage beginning at 2 p.m.
Harrison's is the home of Work Western and wow! For nearly 30 years, our family has been boots on the ground when it comes to work. We have the largest selection of in-stock boots in the Carolinas and the best workwear brands like Harriet, Carhartt, and Wrangler. Find us on Norman Station Boulevard in Mooresville.
Welcome to a Bible Minute with Pastor Randy Mitchell from Temple Baptist Church in Statesville.
The Bible says in 1 John chapter 2, verse number 15, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." Folks, when God talks about loving the world is not just the breaking of the Ten Commandments. The world is a system, and the worldly system is orchestrated by Satan. It feeds off of our fleshly sinful nature, and it's everything about us that wants to influence us and affect our life toward things that dishonor God. The next verse talks about the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. These are all the things, the categories of the love of the world. But obviously, a relationship with God is a love relationship. We have to make a choice. You can love the world or you can love God, but you can't do both.
Thanks for listening to a Bible Minute with Pastor Randy Mitchell here on WSIC.
Are you sick of running out of hot water? Whether it's in the middle of a shower or doing dishes, cold water's never fun. Say goodbye to those surprises with a Rinnai tankless water heater from GMV Energy. This energy-efficient propane-powered solution heats water instantly, so you'll never run out again. Plus, it saves money and frees up space. Propane models start at just $295 after rebates. Visit any G&B Energy location or gbenergy.com to learn more.
Need a ride? iCats has you covered. Tuesdays to the VA in Salisbury, Thursday to Winston-Salem, and Fridays to Hickory. Plus, run errands every day around Iredell County for just $1. Visit rideicats.com.
No radio? No worries.
Just ask Alexa to play WSIC.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. It's hard for a home builder to know when to start building when there's as much economic uncertainty as we're seeing right now. Stubbornly high home prices and mortgage rates are keeping many would-be home buyers sidelined, while tariffs and tariff threats look to spike materials costs significantly higher. The Commerce Department says U.S. new home groundbreakings fell 11.4% in March, double the expected slide in housing starts and the biggest one-month drop in a year. Drug maker Eli Lilly is sharing some upbeat news. Data show its experimental weight loss pill worked as well as Novo Nordisk's Ozempic shot. The trial shows an average 7.9% reduction in body weight and 1.3% dip in blood sugar levels among participants taking orforglipron. Hopefully it'll get a new name if it comes to market. Lilly shares up 13%. Stock indexes are lower with the Dow in its own red world. It's falling 1.6%. Even as the Nasdaq loses 0.25%, S&P down 0.1%. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
Who is this? This is 105.9 100.7.
WSIC. Local starts here.
Now, more About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
And we're back. Cornelius, Mayor Woody Washam right here with David Cole, the assistant manager of the planning department. He's assistant planning director, and so glad to have David here, one of our newer employees, but doing a great job for us with a great background in the business. So it's pretty exciting to have a young guy like David here doing so much and bringing so many great new ideas to our town. But he's given us an update. We're in the process of getting an update of some of our active projects right now, and really all of our projects as we travel around town, about town, if you will. So we were just traveling through Alexander Farms and have made note of some of the delays that are going on there, but a project that we think will certainly start up and move forward not too far from now. The housing component of that project is fairly well in process. It's moving along. It's not complete, but it's moving along, and the retail part of it will be next. So then we move down the street, down Westmoreland Road a little bit, and we come to a really, really exciting project, and that would be the Atrium Hospital.
Yes, sir.
And that is one of the crown jewels that I am really proud of. You know, I get a lot of questions from our citizens about, well, what about the traffic? Well, you know, maybe there's going to be a little more traffic, although we're going to fix our roads, aren't we, David?
That we are.
And so if any of you have traveled through the intersection of Highway 21 and Westmoreland Road, you know that it is a lot better, and that was fully paid for by Atrium Hospital, which was part of their requirement to build this hospital. So a lot of awesome development going in there. This hospital will build itself out, starting fairly small, but will build itself out to in and around a 350-bed hospital, a major medical community for our town. And, you know, when you get my age, that's pretty important. I guess when you're any age, that's important to have great medical services here in the town of Cornelius. So we're excited about that. We needed a hospital in this community, number one. And number two, we needed Atrium here in this region. So here they are, here they come, and they're going to do a good job for us. There's some additional development as part of that particular 100 acres of land. Isn't that correct, David?
So Atrium is situated on a pretty large tract right along I-77. And so that is a significant piece of property. And so we are, I think one of the town's next steps is to really work with Atrium and envision, what do we want to do with this large land tract?
Right.
So especially in a town like Cornelius, your opportunities for large land development are kind of slim. So I think Atrium's going to be a great partner in determining, what sort of development, likely some sort of commercial heavy mixed use type development would happen in that quadrant.
Yeah, that's our dream. It's certainly mine and the board's to, maybe see some corporate headquarter locations there, and maybe a full service hotel with some convention facilities as part of it. You can dream big, so we're hoping for the best. And I know Atrium has been an awesome community partner already, making investments in our CDC, Community Development Corporation, making investments in Keene Center for the Arts, and many other aspects of our nonprofit community. They have stepped up, and I'm so proud of them and thank them sincerely for what they've done already. We're expecting great things from them, so
absolutely
pretty excited about that. So let's move on down Highway 21 there, and we'll turn left on Bailey Road. But first of all, we probably ought to talk about this new road that's getting ready to go under contract, which is the reconfigured Bailey Road.
Yes, sir.
Traffic circle going in, and it's going to take some of this traffic out of the Oakhurst neighborhood, which is mostly school traffic going to Huff High and Bailey Middle. Tremendous amount of traffic on that little small neighborhood road.
That's right.
It's problematic in my opinion. I don't think it's safe.
Right.
So we need to fix that.
That's right. That's an exciting project that we'll see coming up
soon, right?
Pretty soon, yes. So my understanding is yes. I think there's discussions for contract right now,
right?
And yes, you'll see when complete, it would be a traffic circle at Bailey, right by that curve, that really sharp curve into Oakhurst, and it would run out straight to the west and connect with 21. Right. So that would provide a really straightforward alternative route out for people who live on the east side,
exactly,
and for our industrial area as well.
Right.
That's a great, easier connection to 21 and then I-77.
Absolutely, it is. It absolutely is. So then I want to back up just a little bit as we're talking about Atrium and the hospital and all that, and remind everyone that one of my dreams, and I think our board concurs with this, is an exit 27 up at Westmoreland Road and I-77, something that's badly needed for a lot of reasons. One huge reason is the hospital. It will be absolutely imperative for us to provide that exit for the hospital, and the state's working on that and working with us, and we're applying for some grants to do some studies right now. Atrium is participating with us and stepping with us all the way along here as we try to get this done sooner than later. The Atrium Hospital, if folks hadn't heard this, will be opening July 1st. Well, that's pretty soon.
That's coming right up.
That's coming right up. So, a lot of excitement about that. So listen to your local media as to some community experiences that you will hear about, taking tours of that new hospital. Prior to them actually opening their doors and functioning as a hospital, you'll be able to go in and see it, and wait till you see it. I've got a little sneak preview, and it is absolutely gorgeous, something for this community to be really, really proud of, not only because of the quality of medical service it'll bring, but because of the great look that it will add to our community. So pretty excited about that. I could talk about that all day, and I need to wind down a little bit. So now we're going to go back up to Bailey Road and turn left and head down Bailey Road and end up across the railroad tracks over there, where a proposed project has been presented to the town. It's gone through the process. It's in the process now, called Cornelius Business Park.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about that, David.
Yeah, so Cornelius Business Park is a proposal by Greenberg Gibbons, and it is proposed to be I would say a flex space or a flex park, to kind of, if I were to characterize it. So they're looking to do 4 buildings, all of them 1-story, with office space in the front, warehouse in the back. And so they're looking to develop this to mostly target your service users, so your contractors, for example, smaller scale spaces to open up shop and to provide services. And so that project right now requires a rezoning. It's making its way through the process, and in the next month or two, will make its way to the board for a final decision.
Absolutely. A lot of concerns I'm hearing from our citizens in that area, mainly as it relates to traffic.
That's right.
Traffic is bad on Bailey Road, mainly because of the large schools that are in that vicinity. And so a lot of concerns, and as far as you Bailey Road residents, if you're listening, we're hearing you. We absolutely are hearing you, and we're here for you, and a lot more conversation to come on that. So we'll come back and talk about the downtown Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam right here, and we'll be right back.
There's more About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam on the way from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, plenty of sunshine hanging around as we go throughout the rest of the week and into the upcoming weekend. Going to start that warming trend again, too. Temperatures this afternoon easily climb up into the low to mid 70s. Wind takes a back seat for today in the next couple of days, thank goodness, too. Overnight low temperatures will fall back down to around 50. We're back up to around 80 for our Friday. easily into the mid-80s for Saturday and Easter Sunday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. 3 days of live music kick off on Thursday at Bin 110 in Cornelius. Ryan Winters opens up the performances on Thursday. Simple Soul takes the stage on Friday, while Hey Ladies will get you moving on Saturday. Bin 110 welcomes great local musicians Thursday through Saturday. The 500 Club in Statesville is having Easter brunch this Sunday afternoon. Come celebrate the holiday with your friends and family and enjoy the club's delicious food with first-class service. Call 704-872-9990 or visit the 500 Club online for more details on Easter brunch. The Spring Gospel Music Fest will be at Alexander Central High School Auditorium in Taylorsville on April 24th. Gold City and Sabbath Quartet are the featured performers with showtime scheduled for 6:30 p.m. For more information, call 828-383-5176. Enjoy the Spring Gospel Music Fest in Taylorsville on Thursday, April 24th. The NHRA returns to ZMAX Dragway on April 25th through the 27th with the annual 4-Wide Nationals. See 40,000 horsepower at one time when drag racing's finest stars line up to compete 4-wide. Every ticket is a pit pass, so come early to see your favorite drivers and cars up close before they race at over 300 miles per hour. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for tickets and more information about the NHRA 4-Wide Nationals on April 25th through the 27th. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
MerleFest 2025, presented by Window World, returns April 24th through the 27th in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Hear the Avett Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, The Dead South, Watch House, Wyatt Floors, I'm With Her, Leftover Salmon, The Warren Treaty, The Steel Drivers, and many more. For tickets, visit merlefest.org.
We're back with more of About Town with Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Back for our final segment of our show this beautiful day here at Lake Norman. I'm very fortunate to have our Assistant Planning Director here with me today, David Cole. And welcome back, David, as we wrap up a few things related to our town and what goes on in our very busy planning department as well. I guess it's great to know that there's just a lot of people that want to be in our community, both commercial folks and residential as well. So, it gets kind of interesting along the way as we try to keep our growth certainly reasonable, that's for sure. So, as we travel around our town, I want to sort of end up in our downtown corridor. That is something that's been, on my mind for a long time, many years, but certainly since I've been an elected official here for the last 12 years. It's a part of our town that really has needed some love, and we're making some progress. One of the neat things about it, what started all this, was the fact that our voters in this community voted overwhelmingly to approve the downtown redevelopment bonds back in 2013. You weren't around then, you're probably still in college, but anyway, it was back in 2013, and it wasn't a huge bond offering, but it was $4 million, and they approved it, and the purpose of that was to be to instigate a project that would instigate growth and redevelopment in our downtown. And so that was put in place. We put together a mayoral task force along the way, and lo and behold, here comes the Kane Center for the Arts. This community, the Cornelius community, built the Kane Center for the Arts, and we should be really, really proud about that. It's been the economic stimulant that we have needed and wanted in our downtown, and it's working. And for that reason, lots of folks want to come to our downtown now and be a part of the wonderful things that are happening through the Kane Center. And it's moving along at the speed of light, I would say. Mm-hmm. So anytime you have a redevelopment effort going on, you really got to have a plan.
That's right.
I think you as a planner would agree with that. And so tell us about our process of putting the downtown master plan in place.
That's right. So we are in the middle of the development process of this plan, and it's called Cornelius 2050. So this is a very long-term vision and a step-by-step vision on where do we want downtown Cornelius.
Let's hurry up.
To
I'll
go.
be pretty old by then.
All right. So with the Kane Center, with new development pressures, with the red line contemplated, we have a lot of external pressures on our downtown area to make it a really special place. So this plan is going to kind of take all of the existing conditions, take all of that information. We've put it out to the public. And also we've hired professionals to come in and envision what does that look like. So ultimately, we're taking the bones of our downtown, which we had a pretty big redevelopment effort in the late 1990s, which built Town Hall and the Food Lion. And how do we stitch that together and make it kind of a modern 21st century type downtown center that's walkable, that's pedestrian oriented, that really represents Cornelius, the heart of Cornelius. So this plan is taking a look at what types of development do we want and where. So, for example, we're looking at a hotel in the future, at significant new commercial restaurant opportunities, to name a few. And then also, what does the transportation network look like? So we have we're looking at analyzing 5 to 7 intersections in and around downtown, and then also the overall network. How do we take traffic away from key intersections such as Catawba and 115 and really make them more of a pedestrian-focused space? So one of my favorite elements in the plan is what we call the Festival Street.
Absolutely.
So we're looking at along Catawba Avenue, right there in the core by Kane Center, by Town Hall, taking the curbs and changing the dynamic to make it more pedestrian, more inviting. So by removing curbs, adding street trees, adding outdoor dining opportunities, and taking, for example, pavers where there was asphalt, elements like that, you make it feel like a public plaza. And so we're taking that, we're looking at different ways to design our downtown to kind of be more inviting and also encourage future investment by the development community.
Exactly.
So we're proposing a lot of new square feet in this plan. And this is going to really, once adopted, serve as a great framework for us to work with the development community. So if a developer comes, we have that template, we have that blueprint to say, here's what we, the community, want in our downtown, and here's what we would like to develop. Right. So we're about halfway through. Right now we have a survey that is actually open to the public to see the work we've done, look at the plan so far, look at some of the branding and wayfinding elements that we're contemplating, and leave their feedback. So we would love to hear from the community on it.
So how can folks get to that survey? It's on our website, isn't it?
It is. So you can search www.cornelius.org/downtown, or go to the Cornelius Planning webpage, and you'll see the survey opportunity. And feel free to also call into the department if you have questions or you'd like to discuss anything with us. But the community's feedback is such a valuable component because really what we're doing is building a downtown for this and future generations.
So one of the, I think, significant events that has happened and been approved in our downtown is the Mills Market project.
That's right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how that's moving along?
That's right. So Mills Market was approved a few years ago.
Right.
And they are, my understanding is they're still looking to start construction later this year. And that will really re-envision the block between the Kane Center and the and Meridian and Mulberry Street.
Sure.
So that will be a mixed-use development with retail and commercial opportunities along Catawba and a taller residential component behind it. What we really are excited about with this project is it will include a new parking deck that will be partially open to the public. So that'll be additional parking for Kane, for any of the other retail offerings downtown.
Yeah, and you got to have parking component. That's one thing that, not to call anybody out, but we don't want to be like Davidson. But we've got to stay on top of it and make it happen. This is part of our capacity to make it happen.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about this parking deck. It was a major component that we worked very closely with this developer on, and we worked it out. We really did, but we got to get it built.
That's right.
So that's certainly moving along. But this will provide us nice amenities. You know, we might have many of the performances at Kane Center are providing 2 particular shows because that's what it's taken to hold up crowds, which is a great problem. So if you think that and do the math as it relates to that, you've probably got 500 people coming in and out of Kane Center.
Absolutely.
2 times. And that's 1,000 people coming to our downtown many weekends along the way.
That's right.
So, Kane's adding nights and, not just weekends anymore. It's weekdays. And so those folks need to have a place to go and have dinner.
Right.
And I've gotten several calls and texts over this past weekend. It was a pretty popular show there. And, folks are wanting suggestions about where they can eat and have dinner and then walk to Kane.
That's right.
Well, we do have a few places, but it's pretty limited. We need more to accommodate the number of people coming in and out of Kane Center.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited about this project. Mark Miller has been a great developer to work with. It's been a tough journey to go through this process to get it right. We will do our best to maintain the Old Town look of downtown Cornelius, but it is certainly not Old Town Cornelius as many of us grew up and knew it. So, it's a pretty exciting opportunity and a nice compliment to Kane Center, which our citizens voted on. I keep reminding them of that. And it's a nice compliment to that and a lot of other things going on downtown. So Festival Street's really cool, isn't it?
That's right. We're really excited about it. I mean, to kind of summarize what makes a great downtown, it's a term I like to call that is popularized as a third place.
Yes.
Right. So every healthy community needs a thriving third place environment where you can go outside of your home, which is a first place, and your work, which is a second place. So that's often churches or bowling alley, what have you. But a downtown where you have outdoor opportunities, you have entertainment like the Kane Center, restaurants, retail, shopping, all within close proximity, outdoor dining. Suddenly that's a great place to go and kind of meet people, right? See your neighbors, and that builds community too.
Exactly.
So really the goal of the downtown plan is to kind of shift the downtown in that direction, and we're very excited about it.
Exactly. So we needed a lot of love and thought going into this process because it's not my downtown nor the planning department's or the town of Cornelius, it's the people's. And, I think before Kane Center, there were a lot of folks here that lived in our town on the west side that had never been to downtown Cornelius. Same with Mooresville.
That's right.
So I'm excited about this opportunity as it relates to downtown.
Absolutely.
All right, David Cole, you've done a great job and given us a lot of wonderful information. Busy weekend coming up in Cornelius. It's going to be beautiful weather here. It's always beautiful weather around Lake Norman, and we've got so much to offer in our community, and I'm really excited about, our future. A lot of great projects that we're contemplating and moving forward, and we're thinking hard about how we do that for the betterment of our town. We got to get it right. We don't have much land left in the town of Cornelius, and we are committed to getting it right. And if there's a project coming our way, it'll be quality for sure.
Absolutely.
Have a great weekend, everyone. This is Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam, and we will see you next week. Thanks a lot.